We've previously touched on the subject of parties trading off assets and settling their matrimonial action. For example, a party retaining the house and the other party retaining the pension. What happens if the parties elect, maybe elect is a funny kind of word to use this week, what if they choose to do something with child support as part of that trade-off? Can they do that? Well, that subject is a little dicey. It's more tenuous. Why? Because an agreement where parties are trading off assets is based on the premise that it cannot be modified, that they've made an agreement, that this is the trade-off, and this is set in stone. The problem with child support is it's almost always subject to modification. And the reasons for this is because the courts consider the children as the beneficiaries of child support. And since they have not signed off on the agreement between the parties, they shouldn't be subject to not being able to modify. Also, it's against public policy to restrict the children and their ability to obtain money for their benefit in their education and their future. In the past, we've had child support modified because of unforeseen change in circumstances, substantial change in circumstances. Now we have more issues with COVID and all of the problems that that has caused with the party's income. And in fact, even before COVID, the court modified the child support language, reducing the strict standard, including the modification application to just be wait 3 years, or if there's an increase or decrease of 15% of anyone's income. So it's always subject to modification. So client comes to you, the parties want to work out a situation. For example, maybe one party wants to get less of the marital residence in trade-off for paying less in child support. Can that be done? Again, it's tricky because you don't want to be in a situation where a party has done that, traded off a major asset, and yet the other party then brings an upward modification for child support. But there are recent cases which suggest that it can be accomplished. How? Of course, you'll need the strict language that it's not subject to modification, but include in the agreement a precondition. So for example, if a party has benefited by retaining more of an asset as a trade-off for getting less child support, maybe they have to give that asset back. Maybe they have to reconvey it as a condition before they even bring the modification. And that's an important concept to have. Now, we're not saying all this, we're not having this dialogue because we're in favor of restricting children's ability to get a modification or whatever they're entitled to. In fact, we are in favor of children getting everything that they want. No, rather we're doing it so that the parties and people understand there are more creative ways to settle your agreement, to lower your attorney's fees, to restrict the amount of time that you have to waste in court, and to start the healing process, which is really part of the process in dealing with divorce and hopefully getting people on with their lives just a little bit quicker.